Not long ago, I spoke about a rap beef involving D12 and Royce the 5'9". That beef happened almost 20 years ago now. I'm going to talk about something a lot more recent this time. That being the beef between Lupe Fiasco and Royce the 5'9". I've talked about Lupe prior on this channel in my video about his issues with Atlantic Records, and he's also one of my favorite rappers of all time. They have several things in common, like their high-level rap ability, and they even had a podcast together for a time which started back in 2020. They're also both known for their IG live streams, which is where this beef began. A rap beef starting on social media, that's where we're at with things nowadays. In July 2021, Royce the 5'9", Mickey Factz, and Young Guru were on IG Live having a conversation, and Lupe was in the comment section asking to be brought into the live stream. Battle rappers Murda Mook and Loaded Lux were also involved and joined the live as well. Lupe came into the live stream shirtless, and Royce and Guru were asking him to put on a shirt, to which Lupe refused.
Put a shirt on. Put a shirt on. Put a shirt on first.
Chest naked in my living room. I put on shit. The niggas keep bringing this up.
Luke, put a shirt on, bro. You ain't got no damn hair on your chest, bro.
Chill out, Tyler. I'm not putting on shit.
They were discussing the idea of Lupe and Royce going on URL, or Ultimate Rap League, and battle rapping each other, to which Lupe was against doing. The situation got heated as Lupe states that he's not interested in battle rapping on URL or battle rapping Royce in general, but also that he will essentially easily beat Royce in a battle rap if they keep pressing the issue.
That's all I need to know. You, Royce, URL, what's up?
I don't fuck with URL like that. I don't.
Okay, you.
Oh,
you,
wait,
Royce.
wait, Guru. Wait. I don't want to do URL.
Okay.
Beasley, listen.
Other leagues. I was gonna bring up the other leagues.
Beasley, for some reason, feels that I have like a bone to pick with URL, right? So he keep backdooring, throwing numbers, and he'll throw shit to Mickey. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not really interested in the URL shit. I'm not really interested in battling Royce, right? But don't get it fucked up. That don't mean I won't cook niggas if niggas keep pushing buttons.
Things escalated and resulted in Royce calling Lupe a bitch and telling him to take the bass out of his voice. Lupe responded by telling him to start practicing then and left the live stream.
I don't want to do that shit personally, but if you want to make a professional fool of your motherfucking self running up against a demon, go ahead. Fuck you.
Who you talking to, man?
Ain't rap yet. Y'all ain't yet. None of them niggas rap.
Lou, listen. Before you say something stupid, Mook and them called you.
Say something stupid.
I ain't bringing this up. Mook and them called you.
Look, Lux called me. Not
what the
Mook.
fuck you think I'm lying to you? What the fuck I gotta lie for, dog?
Nigga, Lux just called me.
Well, get in the motherfucking ring then, bitch. If you got a motherfucking problem, who you think you fucking talking to, nigga?
All right, nigga.
You playing too much.
Okay. Start
Take
practicing.
some of that motherfucking bass out your voice, nigga.
Start practicing, nigga.
It ain't nothing to practice about.
Nigga, start practicing. Fuck what you talking about.
It ain't nothing to practice about. If you can't rap unless you get personal.
Did he hang up? He hung up.
The others in the live continued their conversation about the events and battle rapping. If you're thinking, well, that escalated quickly, things didn't just get heated from this one live stream. The two would have banter on their podcast as well as IG Live about rappability for weeks leading up to this specific live stream. Lupe would also bring up EO Dub, or End of the Week, an open mic platform for rappers as a way to prove their rap skills. On a Breakfast Club interview in 2022, when asked by Charlemagne the God about the beef of Lupe, Royce would cite that live stream in particular as to the reason for their issues and also stated that it was still friendly competition, essentially.
Don't yell at me. You know what I'm saying? So this was the third time he did that. So when he came onto the thing, he yelling, and I'm telling him, Lou, calm down. And I already knew. I was like, yo, I think you think that I initiated this conversation. I ain't had nothing to do with this conversation. This is something that they just they came up with on their own. And I was like, calm down before you say some stupid shit. And he was, you know, when somebody already turned up, it's hard for them to calm down. So he kept yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling. And then I called him a bitch. And that was the thing that I did that I gotta hold myself accountable for.
You regret it?
Do I regret it? I don't know if regret is the right word, but I'm not happy about saying that because I don't think he's a bitch. You know what I mean? I don't think we should speak to each other that way.
Personally, I'm someone that's always been into the music, but as usual, events have to be laid out to paint a clearer picture. Royce was the first of the two to release a diss track, but Lupe was the first to come with bars as his opponent. He went live on IG himself and rapped off the top of his head while walking around his house. Lupe spit several lines that could be perceived as a shot at Royce, like lines talking about rappers not rapping and just talking instead. Royce then came back at Lupe with the track Silence of the Lambda, a roughly 7 minutes long track aimed at Lupe. There's a lot to break down lyrically, as to be expected of rappers like Royce and Lupe. Royce starts his verse off speaking on the negativity that we often fall into with the lines, solidarity like that muscle we refuse to flex, that synergy that these niggas just refuse to tap in, our disparity, match our hustle, we exude success, attack us mentally, that's the energy kings get trapped into, therefore I'm done promoting the dumb shit. Then follows that up with, I put a hole in your son while he holding your sonships, while you're over there with a chip on your shoulder like Jehovah or some shit. Keep the sonship line in mind for later. He makes a mention of Lupe's albums Food and Liquor and The Cool with the lines, we them cool niggas bringing food, liquor, and foolies in. They do all the yelling then accuse Nickel of bullying. Which is also a reference to the IG livestream again where Lupe was raising his voice during the conversation. Sometimes there's personal lines in diss tracks that don't have much context to us listeners. The following lines are an example of that. Can't expect you to like me more than you love rap beefing. You respect white people more than you love black people. Those lines are a reference to a conversation that Royce and Lupe had on their podcast about things like Lupe having white friends. Lupe would go on live later on after the release of the track and explain the bar, stating that it was a reference to a conversation they had on a podcast in the past that went on for half an hour and got quite heated.
That white people versus black people shit, that ain't the first time I heard that from Royce, directed at me. He said that goofy shit on the podcast. You never heard it though, because we had to cut it out. Because me and this nigga went at each other's throats for like 30 fucking minutes. So he knows. Nigga, that ain't funny. That's not cool. I'm not finna let you sit up here and say that shit to me. You're not finna hit me with this slick Detroit, slightly diss a nigga, Eminem shit nigga, for whatever lulls or laughs. You say it in private, you turn around and say it in public. You know, niggas was finna end the podcast on that shit.
Long story short, the clip was edited out of the podcast and he clearly didn't appreciate Royce making it public as he stated on his live. Royce also has the lines, I don't carry suitcases on big runs to malls deep. I don't carry big guns to a small beef. I don't really care what Mickey Factz has to say. Add Lupe, that's touche. I don't care for big gums and small teeth. Which of course is a reference to Mickey Factz, who was in the live stream as well and is a friend of Lupe's. Royce took a shot at DJ Vlad too while he was at it with the lines, 170 on the dash, all the felonies and the demonic acts, with devils like Vlad always selling me all of the trauma back. Probably no explanation needed there if you've heard of Vlad. But if not, then to put it briefly, he's been a controversial figure in hip-hop media for some years now due to his interview style. Royce aims at Lupe and Mickey again with the lines, Loaded Lux said if we battle then he gon' sit with Lou. I told him you're dead if we battle, now who gon' sit with you? I'm the great MC all the ladies see. Y'all the latency in HD and 1080p and this shit for publicity. You and Mick couldn't mix your written and spit good as a pic of me. Which is a reference again to their previous conversations about rap battling each other. At the end of the second verse, he has the lines, Fed Salmon and lied to while the red camera disguised you, you violent, but where was that for the Craig Kalmans and Kaisers? That being a reference to the fact that Lupe had issues with Craig Kalman and Mike Kaiser from Atlantic Records. For more information on what went down there, make sure to check out that video on the channel. Lupe responded to Royce shortly afterwards with the track Steve Jobs, SLR 3.5. which is a part of his SLR series, which stands for Super Lupe Rap, and as the name states, Lupe goes super with the raps here. Just like Royce's track, this one is also over 6 minutes long and a lyrical beatdown. Before getting into this Lupe response though, let me go back a bit and mention another rapper who was involved in this situation and dropped a diss track. EO Dub rapper Osiris Anthem dropped the diss track Royce the 6 Feet Deep, where he raps over the Eminem track Kill Shot, which was a diss to Machine Gun Kelly. I've covered the beef between Eminem and MGK on the channel before, so give that video a watch too. In response to Royce saying that he could beat the EO dub rappers, Osiris stepped up to the plate. He has plenty of Eminem references like, "I'm too dope, every bar excites women, you're just a black man with residual white privilege," as well as, "If you ain't meet Eminem, you definitely be wiping floors, you be marching for that minimum wage, instead of letting clubhouse niggas get you enraged." Then he goes on to say that Royce would be working at Walmart if not for meeting Eminem, and even initiates a scenario of Royce being a Walmart employee. He also makes a reference to Royce's track Renegade featuring Eminem being given to Jay-Z instead with the lines, "You met another renegade Brooklyn nigga with the better verse. You were unknown and got easily replaced. Your very best friend didn't even leave with haste. Industry shit, he sacrificed you for a plate." Now, before I get back into the Lupe diss track, there were a lot of live streams back and forth around this time, so some of the lines in these diss tracks stem from those. So if you're like me and don't really use IG, you might not catch some of the references. Back to this Steve Jobs track though. It's named after the former head of Apple, Steve Jobs, who passed away in 2011. Lupe starts his first verse off with a subliminal shot about Royce with the lines, "You see, it takes the niggas weeks, they need a comfort zone and some beats, lollygags the polymatters that go over responses, get all layered and technical in their content," which is a reference again to the live stream conversations and how Royce wouldn't freestyle, but he did put out a song. Also, the usage of layered is possibly a reference to the Royce album Layers, which was released back in 2016. Shortly afterwards, Lupe has the lines, "I think that nigga scared. He never leave heaven cause he already dead. Damn nigga, are you insane? What's the point in knowing how to point and aim if the niggas you gon' bang look exactly the same? That ain't motherfucking cool. That's a motherfucking shame. This ain't no motherfucking game. That's why I think you a motherfucking lame." The Heaven line is a reference to Royce's studio named Heaven, and the other lines being a reference to black on black crime. At the end of his first verse, he has the lines, "Keeping my city clean while you was talking about beating a nigga's ass. That shit is whack. Long live backpack rap. Fuck these monster drinking, new age, conscious thinking, Farrakhan today, gangster tomorrow, one foot in they sorrow, another foot in the trap, killers who easily triggered by a little nigga's attacks," which is calling out Royce for his seemingly hypocritical actions. Then in the second verse, he has the lines, "You chose violence. I just want to know when you're going to respond to Osiris and go to EO dub, battle in front of a judge instead of hitting smack and trying to entertain the thugs," which of course is a reference to the Royce the 6 Feet Deep track by Osiris anthem that I mentioned earlier. After the track, Royce responded during an IG livestream with 3 Lettermen, essentially stating that it isn't just healthy competition considering how far Lupe went in his track, along with several other things, but basically didn't seem too pleased about the way Lupe responded, understandably so. Lupe then responded shortly afterwards on IG himself and announced that the podcast between the two would be over now.
But yeah, I think that's done. You know, it's not something that my heart was 100% in. And I think we just reached the state now where it's just kind of like an untenable relationship. So I appreciate the last episode went up today. It's called Gold, which was actually dope. To me, I listened to it earlier. It was super funny. It's like one of the funniest episodes. So I think it's good to go out on top. You know, did a nice round number 45, big shots. Had fun with the Patreon and the fans and everybody who was tuned in. I think sometimes it's good to just go out on top, you know. So, you know, I'm not doing that no more.
Royce got on with Joe Budden, and they talked about the situation as well as Mickey Factz, which prompted Mickey to respond with a track of his own, that being Wraith. Once again, a track about 6 minutes long with plenty of jabs. Mickey comes out hard on the first verse with lines like, "All this chatting for hours is really silly, nigga, with no rapping. I swear you gotta be backwards. No matter how many flowers you try to give a nigga, it's like they only want them on top of their casket," which of course is a reference to all the IG live conversations once again. Giving someone their flowers essentially means to give someone praise or acknowledge their accomplishments, which is juxtaposed with giving someone flowers on their casket as you would a funeral, which itself is a reference to Mickey lyrically killing Royce with this track. Later in the verse, he makes a reference to the response that Lupe gave to Royce with the lines, "Lupe freestyled and got you out of here. You cried alone from playing yourself, shed a solid tear," which is a reference to the card game Solitaire, which is played alone. Side note, I used to play Solitaire all the time on my phone. If you're looking for a solo card game to play, I recommend it. Like Lupe did in his track, Mickey also makes a reference to Royce's studio, Heaven, with the lines, "I'm Lucifer, the Y3 fly devilish cat who decides heaven is whack." Then later on in the third verse, he has the lines, "Yeah, I check boxes, that's what morticians do," which is once again a reference to the IG livestream conversations, as they would mention a few times about checking boxes, basically hitting certain requirements when rapping. However people want to define that. Punchlines, metaphors, double entendres, etc, etc. Then Mickey has what is probably one of my favorite parts of any of these diss tracks, and he checks some boxes of his own. Nigga talking checking boxes, Y3 all the time, never checking boxes, you find this chicken head dismembered in checker boxes. I'm Bobby Fischer, you playing chess with checker boxes. He love MMA, every day he checking boxes. Joe Budden dick riding, look at Royce checking boxes. Money in the mail, man, I see the checking boxes. Your chick be in my DMs when I check in boxes. Ask women, this guy know, I'm checking boxes. Fuck that, I'm Craig on Friday, I ain't checking boxes. Yeah, I'd say some boxes were definitely checked. He follows it up with the lines, "On IG, the way that I handled it shows humility, but this nigga bathing in arrogance, insecurity, disparaging words about Lupe making a mural, you tried to do it and failed, you should have called it plural," which is a reference to the track Mural by Lupe from his Tetsuo and Youth album, and is considered by many to be one of his most lyrical songs of all time. Do you remember Osiris Anthem, the rapper I mentioned earlier that dissed Royce? Well, yeah, he came back again with another track. He made a post on IG with a track aimed at Royce again, this time rapping over the beat for the Cameron song Down and Out from the Purple Haze album. He disses Royce for not responding to the track with bars and instead just talking on IG Live still. Shortly afterwards, the IG live streams continued again. Lupe went on live and essentially expressed his disappointment in the situation. One thing he brought up was how one of the reasons he continued to bring up EO Dub is because one of their rules is that you're not allowed to diss each other in your raps.
The best rappers are at EO Dub. You can't diss. So there's nothing to get personal about. You don't even, for half the battle, half the event, I keep calling it a battle, but you said it's not a battle, Lupe, get your shit together. Like, you're right. For half the competition, it is a competition though. It's not a battle. It's not a URL. You can go up and diss niggas, talk about niggas' mamas and how you gonna kill niggas and kill kids and shoot motherfuckers and do all type of shit. I mean, if you want to incorporate that into your pieces, that, you know, freedom of speech is a motherfucker. You can say whatever you want, but that's not the piece. But again, follow the logic. Lupe, get your shit together. Follow the logic. If you're easily triggered, if you don't want to get dissed, if you don't want personals thrown around, if you don't want to be in a position that you're in right now, EO Dub is perfect. It's perfect.
He also mentioned that he only listened to like a minute of Silence of the Lambda and then spoke about Royce's line about the sun chips.
Niggas is feeling a certain way and feeling real deeply. And you should feel like that. You should feel a little off kilter and a little fucked up and a little perturbed and a little disjointed, right? That's payment for what the fuck you said. I'm not riding with a nigga talking about I'ma shoot your son holding some sun chips. Lupe, why is that, out of everything this nigga said, why is that the line that you sit on? And there's other lines, and I'll maybe we could talk about that. I still ain't listened to the song beyond the minute or so that I was into it. Why would you be mad at that? Cause Janila forever, nigga.
Remember earlier when I said to keep that in mind for later? During yet another IG Live, Mickey Factz spoke to Royce about who that line was meant for, as Lupe doesn't have a son, but he does himself. To which Royce responded, essentially saying that the line wasn't made with him in mind, but he can consider it towards him if he wants.
I'm asking you, right? Because in the beginning of the song, right, you say, I put a hole in your son while I'm holding your sun chips. Lupe ain't got no son. So now I'm asking you, is this about me? Because I have a son. And the joint was going at Lupe, and then my name was mentioned. So I'm trying to understand where we at with it. That's all. Because then the next bar goes into assumptions. So now it's like, I don't want to assume. So it's like, okay, where we at with it? Is it you said my name here and you said my name here? Or is this beginning for me too? And now that's either a yes or no question.
The first part that you just asked,
Mhm.
I ain't have you in mind when I said that line.
Okay.
But I now want to put you there. I want to connect that line to you. I want you to have it.
Oh, say no more.
All right.
Not long afterwards, Royce was on IG Live with Ransom, King Los, and 3 Letterman. And during the conversation, he stated that there was a better way to handle the situation and that he and Lupe are no longer friends now because of how it was handled.
I'll say this. I do think that there was a way we could have did this to where we could have done it the right way, where it wouldn't have been no feelings. If
Right.
everybody would have
That's
been,
what
if
I mean.
everybody would have just been intentional with making sure that we clear on how everybody feels.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we could have did whatever. We could have made money. We could have did whatever. We straight up not friends now.
That's the whack part. I feel that's the whack.
That's
part.
whack.
That's the whack part.
So I don't even want to rap like that because I'll fuck Lupe up, man. Y'all better stop instigating.
Mickey Factz then made an appearance on the My Expert Opinion show by Matt Hoffa, and when asked about the situation, he spoke about the IG live stream that set off the diss tracks. He also spoke on what started the whole overall situation, that being a tweet by RJ Payne, claiming himself and Ransom as the best rappers out currently, and then Royce responding on IG, and things went on from there. Since then, Royce has gone on interviews and been asked about the situation and essentially expressed his disappointment in how the situation occurred. Their podcast titled The Lupe and Royce Show was canceled, and the last episode was episode 45, which aired in July, right around the time that the two dropped their tracks. This has been yet another beef where fortunately things stayed on wax in social media rather than getting physical. However, this one resulted in the loss of a friendship and cancellation of a whole podcast. Now, for my personal opinion, the Royce the 6 Feet Deep track by Osiris Anthem is the most underrated of the tracks to come from this. My personal favorite, however, is probably the Mickey Factz track, Wraith. I've seen Mickey Factz live once myself. He opened for Lupe Fiasco on tour, and although I can't remember exactly what he performed, this track is one I listen to and makes me want to check out some of his other music. So if you got some song recommendations, leave them in the comment section below. However, I feel like all 4 of these MCs held it down for hip hop, and that's what it is about. Now, as usual, subscribe to the channel, click that thumbs up button to like the video, join the Discord server with the link in the description, and check out the other links there too while you're at it.